our last speaker tonight is Andrea Stumpf. She spent 40 days at the base of a volcano in silence. 40 days in silence. I don't think I could do that for 40 minutes. So anyway, please welcome Andrea Stumpf. Band, ready? Woo!
That was awesome. I'm loving this confetti too. I think 40 days of silence might be easier than standing up here now talking to you guys. But I want to tell you a little bit of a story tonight. A few weeks ago, my good friend Julia, she contacted me and she asked me if I wanted to be interviewed for StoryCorps. Now, I love StoryCorps. I love riding in my car, listening to the stories of everyday people. And for those of you who don't know, StoryCorps is an organization that records the stories and perspectives and beliefs of everyday people, and then they get sent off to the National Library of Congress, and they're there for people to listen to as a way to foster kind of compassion and connection. And I love that idea, and I love stories. So when she asked me, of course I said yes, and I was really excited. And so I invited her over to my house, and I cooked dinner for her. And after dinner, we sat down on the couch, and she gets out her phone, and she puts it down on the coffee table in front of me, and she hits record, and the interview begins. And she asked me questions like, what was your favorite childhood memory? And, what are you most proud of in your life? And what was the most difficult moment you've ever experienced? And I'm loving it, and I'm answering, and I'm telling these stories, and it's going really, really well. And then she gets to the end of the interview, and she asks, so Andrea, what are you most grateful for? And I thought, and my mind kind of started to race, and I'm like, I gotta think of something to say, and I'm like, my parents. I can't say my parents though, because everybody says their parents, and my friends, my family, my health, I don't know, and I have to say something because this little dot is going along the line, and this is recording, and I'm not saying anything, and this is gonna go to the National Library of Congress. I gotta say something, so I just kind of blurt out, well, Julia, I'm just grateful for everything. I'm grateful for when things go well in my life, in my parents, in my family, and, the blessings in my life. I'm really grateful for those things, but, Julia, I've also had some hard times in my life, and I've really grown from them, and I'm a different person because of that, and so I'm grateful for those experiences, too. And she kind of nods her head, and the interview goes on, and I didn't really think much else about it. Until a couple weeks later, my good friend Julia contacts me and says, hey, Andrea, there's this event at the Vogue, and it's called Walk the Talk, and it's all about gratitude. Now, I consider myself a spiritual person, and us spiritual people, we don't believe in coincidences. So when my friend Julia is calling me again and asking me the same question about gratitude, the very question that I didn't have an answer for during our interview, it's like the universe was saying, that's not okay. You need to think about this. And so I did. I thought about that answer, I'm grateful for everything. Well, I can't really just get up on stage and say, hi, I'm Andrea, I'm grateful for everything, because that's 3 seconds, and this is supposed to be 10 minutes. And then if I go on and I list all the blessings in my life and all the good things in my life, and then I tell you about all the hard times I've had and how I've grown from that, my 10-minute talk's gonna turn into 10 days, or 10 years, because the umbrella of everything is pretty infinite. So there had to be something more to it than that. And so I started thinking about this answer, I'm grateful for everything. And I thought, it is good to be grateful for the blessings in our life. Like Cassie said, having a gratitude journal, starting to notice those beautiful moments in our lives. Our family, the blue skies, when things go really well. It's really good to be grateful for those, and it will change you. But we also have hard moments in our lives. You lose your job or you get fired and you're terrified and you feel unworthy and you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how you're going to pay rent or pay the mortgage and what's going to happen, and you're scared. But then a couple years go by and you find yourself in a new job, and this is the job of your dreams. And if you hadn't gotten fired from that job, you would never be here. And so you're so grateful that that thing happened to you. It's with many things. You go through the divorce or you have the health scare, and and you're on the floor and you're crying and you don't know what you're going to do and you don't know if you're going to make it. But some time goes by and you grow and you look back and you think, I would not be the person that I am now. I'm stronger, I'm more confident, whatever it is. If that hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't be here now. And so I'm so grateful that that happened to me. And I thought about that, and it's good to be grateful for those hard moments in your life, but it's like you're still saying that the time passed and you looked back and the good that came out of it, so you're grateful for the good. And what if we don't have time to think about the good that comes out of it or to see the good that came out of something? Can we just be grateful in the very moment that something bad is happening to us? Can we just be grateful for that? And so while I was thinking about this, coincidentally, if you believe in that sort of thing, I received some emails. And these emails were from a really dear friend of mine. His name is Lee, and he's a friend that I grew up with, and we were best buds. He's almost like a brother to me, but it's been a lot of years since I've actually talked to him. He's since moved out to New Mexico, and now he's on to Pennsylvania, and he's going to grad school. But I knew that he and his wife, Hope, were expecting their second child. We're friends on Facebook, and I was watching as Hope's belly got bigger and bigger. And you're thinking, it's about time to have this child. She's about ready to give birth to this baby. And so these emails came, and that's in fact what they announced, that they gave birth to this beautiful little girl, their second little girl. Her name is Jade. And then the second line of the email said, for reasons they didn't know, and that they still don't know, little Jade's heart stopped, and she stopped breathing. And they were terrified, and they rushed her off to the hospital, and they connected her to life support. And little Jade stayed on life support for 4 days, and then sadly, she didn't make it. And this is a heartbreaking news to receive from such a dear friend. To hear about anybody. These are good people. And they were devastated. And in their email, they didn't cover up the fact that their hearts were breaking and the pain that they were feeling. They were very real and very raw about this kind of pain that they were feeling right now. But what blew me away is that the second part of the email just was filled with gratitude. They said, we only had 4 days with little Jade, but we are so grateful for those 4 days. We got to hold her and love her and get to know her, and then we got to say goodbye. And then they said they were so grateful that Jade had chosen them to be her parents, and they got to bring her into this world. And then, they said that they had friends and family and community all around them, and they knew that they were loved and supported, but until this moment, till this had happened to them, they had no idea the depths of love and care and comfort that was surrounding them, and they were so grateful for that. And then last they said, they were grateful to God because if this is what He had chosen for them, if this is what they were experiencing, then this is what it was, and they were grateful. And I thought, how in the world could they feel gratitude like that? In fact, they finished off their email with, in grief and gratitude. And then I wondered, could I possibly feel that level of gratitude if something like that happened to me? And I've had a pretty blessed life. Nothing like that has happened to me. But if it did, would I be able to find that acceptance and that strength and that love? And so when I was thinking about this, again, coincidentally, I happened to throw my back out. Now, I am not comparing the pain of your back hurting to the pain of losing a child by any means. It's not even comparable. But this was the kind of back pain that I couldn't even get out of bed, and I didn't know why it was there. I just woke up one day, and my back hurt so bad that tears were coming to my eyes. And I work at a restaurant on the weekend, and I work double shifts. And nobody was going to cover my shifts, and so I had to limp around the restaurant carrying these huge plates of food, leaning over tables, trying not to cry in people's pizza. And I was just in agony. I felt horrible. And when I got home that night, I laid down in bed, and I couldn't even find a comfortable place to sleep and to sit. And my back was hurting, and my mind was racing, and I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to have to have surgery? Did I slip a disc? What is this back pain that I've never felt before, and what's going to happen? And my mind is just turning. And then I thought about Lee and Hope, and I thought, oh my gosh, well, if they were grateful in the midst of their heartache and their pain, surely I can be grateful in the midst of this. And so I laid in bed, and I talked to God, and I said, God, thank you. Thank you so much. If my back hurts right now, that is just what's supposed to happen, so thank you for this pain. And then I went to bed. And then the next morning, when I woke up, do you know what happened? Nothing. My back hurt just as bad the next day as it did the day before. In fact, I think it hurt worse because I had been limping around the restaurant for 12 hours, and I had to get up and do it again for another 12 hours. But that's just it. I didn't say thank you to God as a plea bargain. Like, thank you, now I'm grateful. Now go ahead and make it better. Because sometimes it doesn't get better, or it's not going to get better for a long time. And sometimes the pain will never go away. I mean, I don't know if the pain of losing a child ever goes away. If you'll ever have 40 years that go by and you look back and say, oh, I'm so grateful that happened. Look at the good that came out of it. Sometimes we don't get that. But that's not what life is about. Life is about everything. It's the good and it's the bad. I mean, it's the joy we feel and then the tears we cry. It's everything and it's infinite. And to be grateful for everything means to be grateful just to be alive and experiencing this gift of life. So the next time somebody asks me this question, whether they're recording me or not, I will think about the good and the bad in my life, and I'll think about the time that my back really hurt, but most of all, I'll think about Lee and Hope and little Jade. And this time, with complete confidence and ultimate humility, I'll simply say, everything. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hear it for Andrea. Thank you for everything. Oh my gosh. Wow, fantastic.